guys, welcome to episode 6 of Noblesse, and this is the episode I've really been excited for, and a few of you guys even in the comments telling me that definitely the episode to look out for, and you guys are not wrong. This is definitely an episode which marks a turning point, and I definitely think it's a turning point in the tone. I think it's also tables have turned. It's going to be interesting to see where the anime goes from here. Today's episode title was Great Power / Raziel. Before we get into the episode breakdown, I want to tell you guys that I have recently created a Discord channel for the YouTube channel itself. A place for you guys to come along, join. You will be able to get updates on the channel, if there's going to be any delays on certain videos. You can also keep track of what's going on and just generally chat and meme, all the fun things. It will be a place where I hope to build from. So it's quiet now, but it will build. So it will get better. So it's something I hope to build upon in the future as we get bigger. Also, thank you guys so much. We hit 200 subs. I am so happy. I woke up to somebody even commenting that, and it was so nice to actually wake up to it. So fantastic. I really hope we can continue onwards and upwards, and I can keep bringing really good content to you guys and improve. We have got a new segment, guys, where we have an anime question of the week. I'm going to be asking you guys, who is your favourite red-headed anime character? Please comment below. Tell me your favourites. I will be picking my favourite answer out of all the videos of the week. Next week, I will reveal the answer, give you a channel shout-out, and then tell you guys who my favourite red-headed character is. So, very excited. Please come along and take part in the new feature if you want. No rules whatsoever. Just pick your favourite character and comment below. Let's go into the breakdown, guys. Today's open was straight back with Franken with a gun to his head. Initially, Franken is like, I'm not going to use my powers, and he's very deliberately kind of going, I'm not going to do it. But as soon as Takeo threatens Raz, which is generally, I would say, a big no-no, I wouldn't threaten Raz at all when it comes to Franken, that's it. He unleashes his powers. We kind of see the powers start to eat away at the gun, which is quite spooky. And the moral of the story, guys, just don't threaten Raz in front of Franken. Just don't do it. We cut back to where the fun really is beginning, and we have Raz versus Krantz. Krantz is literally pulled down to the floor, and I think we even see it affecting Tao as well, where he's even like, is this mind control? It's just the way that Raz is just like, I didn't give you permission to move. And considering Raz has been quite the quiet character up until this episode, it's really quite almost jarring to hear the guy talking so much. Even though he doesn't really say a great deal this episode, in the grand scheme of things, he still doesn't say too much. He definitely talks a lot more, and it's definitely probably the most he's spoken in the entire first half of this season, where we cut back to Sierra versus the Hammer. And you guys know I like Sierra. I think she looks damn awesome, and she really is the boss. We can literally see her just deflecting Hammer's missiles. He kind of keeps firing these bullets at her, where she kind of just waves a single hand and she just deflects them. They go elsewhere. They get split in half. She just looks so cool about it, where she summons a death scythe when she even says, humans think this is the Grim Reaper's scythe. That weapon is beautiful. It really looks good with Sierra. She looks great holding a scythe. I love it. It really is just a one swing and Hammer gets buried, and it is a rest in peace, where we do get a close-up of his bloodied body underneath the rubble. So just as quickly as we saw Hammer and Sierra meet, they kind of depart. Hammer is no more. He is gone. Cutting back to Franken and Takeo, the two who I was absolutely nervous about, because I like both of them. Obviously, Franken I like a little bit more, but I do like Takeo as well. I think he's a really good character. And again, it's nice to see a character fighting for something he thinks is important, fighting for something that he loves, fighting for something he believes he loves. We get the rug pulled out from underneath us a little bit later on in this episode, where I just love the fact that Franken's powers are this really like purpley gorgeous attack. I love purple. Purple is my favourite for sure. It kind of forms spikes, but it also kind of at one point we see it holding down Takeo, so it changes shape. It's like a purple energy which changes shape. We do get to see these amazing spikes, and these spikes do spike Takeo, so it does initially look like Takeo is at a bit of a disadvantage. I have to say, to Sierra, to Raz, to Franken, they look so effortless and so cool when they are using their powers, because obviously they're standing there waving a hand instead of fighting frantically, where it looks a little bit kind of not so cool, where these guys just look so cool. They're just chill, they just wave a hand and boom, it looks good. We do see him kind of summoning these spikes where he hurls them straight at Takeo. And I had to say, a credit to Takeo. He does manage to land a blow on Franklin. Like, I think his bullet grazes his cheek. He's even like, I'm starting to get interested in you. And at this point, when the spikes come down, Takeo gets a vision of his sister sitting in the hospital bed. Now I'm reading this back with the information I've got ahead. It is a little bittersweet because obviously it's just a manipulated memory. This memory of the sister, of the people who he's got involved and he's also had to kill, this gives him the strength to stand up and withstand the barrage of spikes. Cutting to our boy Raz and Krantz. We see Krantz summoning these blades from his forearms. He goes in to try spiking Raz. And there is this huge explosion, and it's just seeing the others react, where we see Tao defending from it, we see the guys kind of shielding from this blast, and this blast is big. But we can just see that Krantz and Raz are still standing. But Raz is he's barely touching the guy. He's not having to physically hold him back. It looks like he's kind of almost just patting his hand. It really does look effortless. He's just patting his hand, holding him there. He's barely touching him, and it really is making Krantz struggle to even stand up. And we can see him struggling with just him barely touching him, where he sends Krantz flying into the wall. Krantz firing back, where we can see that Raz has a shield up, whether it's a blue energy shield. Raz's powers kind of go from being blue sometimes going into that red or blood powers that we see a bit later on. Krantz orders Tao to use D, and obviously he plans to absorb him. He realizes that with Shark alone, he doesn't have the powers to take on Raz, so he's getting desperate. So Manabu starts to sympathize. He tries to beg and he tries to stop Tao. Tao just says, I'm a modified human. This is my fate. But he is taking his time about it. Whether he was doing this on purpose just to see if the situation would shift, because obviously he's seen Raz. He could be just playing his cards and taking a gamble that Raz might do something and stop this from happening. So he's not giving Krantz a reason to spike him, even though he eventually does anyway. But he does seem to be taking his time about it. We see Manabu pleading to Raz to save him. And this cuts straight back to my boy Franklin, asking, why are you fighting? Why are you struggling? To Takeo. Where Takeo is like, I have to protect what matters most to me, which is probably going to be the title of this episode. It doesn't matter who it is, whether it's Manabu pleading to Tao, whether it's Takeo trying to save what he believes is his sister, Franklin trying to protect Raz. Everybody in this fight is trying to protect what matters the most to them, and that is what they all have in common. He kind of still has the ability to dodge really fast, and he does dodge a load of Franklin's attacks and manages to even get behind him. Franklin is able to use those, what used to be spikes, now it kind of turns into the ability to bind him to the spot. We see Takeo impaled by a rain of spikes, and Takeo is down. At this point, Takeo, he can't really fight back. He's had spikes go into him, he's probably used a lot of his powers, and he also, at this point, he seems to snap out of D and turn back into his normal self. Franklin goes in for the kill. He is interrupted by Sierra. Sierra obviously has finally worked out you're not an ordinary human being, where he notices the weapon she's carrying and he says a soul weapon, where that means that she is a high-ranking noble. I kind of already got that impression from her and Regis anyway, where she asks, are you going to kill Takeo? At this point, Takeo, who has already seen Sierra because he was with you at the time in the streets, where he says, I now understand that you too are not ordinary. And he begs her. He says, I have a favour to ask you. The boy who was with you, which is you, can you save him? He ended up involved because of me, and he kind of blames himself for the situation that you has found himself in. He thinks he's about to die. So his last dying breath essentially is save you. Not even save my sister, it's save you. Franklin, being the warm-hearted character that I know and love, he walks away and says, you're going to apologise in person, which obviously ends that sequence now. Cutting back to the final sequence that needs to be put to bed is Ray and Krantz, where Manabu is still pleading to Ray. Krantz tells him to be quiet, you're going to be the first person who I'm going to kill, which sparks Tao to finally attack Krantz. Oh, come on, Tao. You know that you don't agree with him being threatened. You like Manabu. You like being called brother. You like it. where he kind of jumps away and uses his wires to electrocute him, almost like tase him. And he says, I've decided not to let you kill me, but Krantz is able to launch forward and grab him. And he says, fine, I'm going to absorb you as you are now because I'd still be better off. And this is where Raz just literally just says one word. He says one word and he says, stop. Krantz freezes in place and Tao gets clear. He's able to just jump free. So he freezes Krantz, but Tao is unaffected and he jumps free. Ray turns around and speaks to Manabu and Yu, and he says, why are you pleading with me? There's no need for begging between us. And it's such a precious moment because he basically means friends don't beg. He would do anything for those two. He's going to do it anyway. They don't need to plead with him. He would do it if he was just asked. We do see a bit later on that he does care about them. And it's just this precious moment where we see Yu and Malibu just smiling and like happy tears. It's happy tears, guys. He's been quiet and he's been kind of chilling out in the sidelines for the first 6 episodes. He's finally here. He's finally showing us why it was worth waiting for him. Raz then steps it up. What he's about to do is absolute space blood field. We see these blood droplets appearing and start to float around him where they start to swirl around Raz. And the blood starts to attack Krantz and it literally goes in to attack him. And it's just how chill Raz looks whilst he's doing it. As the guys kind of stand there and motion their hand. And it will just look so cool. They look so laid back whilst they're doing it. And the tables are finally turning, where the blood engulfs Krantz. He eventually just gets defeated. He kind of vanishes up into the ceiling along with the blood and it just vanishes. We've had a very high-octane first half of the episode where we finally get a cool down. We finally get some relaxation and we finally get to see the characters taking a chill, where we wake up with Takeo in the director's house next to Silver M21, if you want to call him that. He looks pretty beat up, but he has been bandaged up, his wounds being treated, but he doesn't know why he's alive. But his first question, what about the kids? So it was like there, I'll get info from your buddy with the bowl cut later, which is Tao. And I mean, Tao is stylish, but the bowl cut is just a questionable choice. But it is nice to see that Takeo's first instinct is, what about the kids? I definitely felt character growth, and he's a character who I loved the fact that he had a chance to get a bit of growth during the other episode where we see him in town and we get to see him interact with Yu and Sierra. We cut to Franklin informing Raz that they're both awake, where we see Raz coughing up some blood. Franklin says it's because you used your powers and they've placed a burden upon your body, but Raz says those boys asked for my help. And Franklin says, you haven't changed, you're still kind to humans. So as I would expect with a great power, there's definitely going to be a payback of some sort. And we see that using that all that power that he did has definitely had a toll upon his body. And it'd just be interesting to get a bit more information on the fact that there's definitely a payoff to using the powers he has. We get a flashback of Raz stealing Frankenstein's powers. He needs Raz's consent to unleash his powers, and that's the only time he may use his powers. Franklin is like, I will accept any punishment for disobeying you. But Raz is like, I know you wouldn't disobey me without a compelling reason. And then he goes, is our meal ready? The most important thing, guys, is the food ready. It's the most important thing. At the end of the day, what these guys need is just to have a good sit down. And yes, the table is getting bigger. The family of oddballs is growing bigger by the day, where Tao is sat at the table and we finally get to see Sierra's meal being eaten and enjoyed by everyone, because obviously she did cook a meal, but it was interrupted by the big fight and Yu and Manabu getting kidnapped and Regis as well going missing. And she's finally getting that payoff, and everybody is literally pouring the compliments onto Sierra. Regis compliments her, Tao compliments her. We get to see Sierra blush. She really is an amazing character. I do love Sierra. I think she's awesome. Well, we find out that Franklin was the one who cooked the ramen, and obviously he made it with love. And we gotta stop for a minute, guys. You know how it works around here. This is the Clockwork Dandy Noodles seal of approval, because there's ramen here, and I love ramen. All things ramen, absolutely love it. So whenever there's ramen on a screen, doesn't matter what the anime is, we'll take a moment to appreciate the Clockwork Dandy Noodle seal. Let's continue. We do see Raz still waiting for his food to multiply. Still want information on this, guys. Still need to know what this joke is. Or unless that is the joke that we're never going to get to find out and it's just a joke. Franklin says, I like you. And he definitely seems to be getting on with Tao. And he thinks he's going to fit in quite nicely to the society. Again, Tao is quite a cool character. I do like him. I think he is quite an interesting character. Silver and Takeo appear finally, where we see Takeo actually thanking Franken, and it's just that smile. You guys know Franken is my boy. He's my favourite. I love him. He's amazing. That smile makes it all worth waiting for, where they are invited to join the meal. And now we have the reunion we've all been waiting for with Regis, our tsundere boy, as he's kind of like staring up and kind of side-eyeing Silver. And he says, sit down, the food's getting cold. And we just wait for it. Wait for it, guys. Your food has more bamboo shoots in it. Again, we are back to the loving relationship that these two have. The return of the arguments is back. To be fair, I feel like it feels like it's been longer since we had these two argue. So I am quite happy to hear these guys at each other's throats once again. We now get a scene between Silver and Raz, which is very interesting, where Silver is staring up into the night sky saying he failed to get any info on his comrades, and he's also angry at himself for putting people in danger, where Raz comes out and says, you are not as weak as you think you are. And he says there's a great power resting within you. Do you want me to test it for you? Some blood kind of rises up from Silver, and he kind of tastes a bit, where he awakens the power within M21 or Silver. We kind of get this visualization of him. It looks like he's turning into a werewolf. Definitely not. I guess it isn't. But he grows hair and he gets these fangs, and he's covered in shadow, so we don't get a full-on look at his true form. But Raz says, this is your true form. You have the power within your hands to save your friends. Very interesting scene, let's just say that. I definitely think we'll see that true form at some point, knowing this anime. We get a scene now of Tao Takeo, where Tao tells Takeo everything about D, about Krantz absorbing them. Where Takeo is like, what should we do? Should we return to the Union? Tao is like, I can make it look like we both died on this mission. But Takeo is like, but the Union has my sister. And this is probably where the most shocking news comes within the episode. Tao says, you need to stay calm and listen to me. You don't have a sister. And it's just that shock on Takeo's face where he asks him, what do you mean? Where Tao dug into the database, the server, and he says, I found just data. The hospital you went to didn't exist, even though it says you've visited countless times. The Union has manipulated your memories. And it's quite a tough scene to think about, that Takeo has killed people. Takeo has been fighting all this time because he believes he's going to see his sister again. He believes he's doing it all for his sister. And he doesn't have one. And it really is quite that shocking turn of events where it's like, what am I supposed to do now? How am I supposed to live? What do I live for? Everything he knows and he thinks knows is being lies. Quite a moment where you can kind of sympathise with Takeo, that he feels lost. He's lost everything. He doesn't know what to think about. And Tao's even like, let's leave. We're just going to be a burden on everybody. Bearing in mind that Silver is overhearing all of this conversation. The next day, Tao tells Silver that he has looked into his comrades, and apparently the Union security isn't really that high, so he's able to get into the server pretty easy. But he does say there's no information left. The records have been destroyed. Does this mean there's a dead end for Silver? That is interesting. We're going to have to find a different route, perhaps. Or is this the literal end of that thread? Silver asks Franken, because Tao and Takeo are leaving, please let them stay here. We do see that Silver has grown as a person. He sympathises with them both. He feels the same because they've all been used and discarded by the Unions. There is something in common. And we get such a nice little moment where Franken agrees and says, this is your home now. I love him. I do love him. Our end sequence where Franken is talking to Raz, and he says, how do you think Sierra and Regis felt when they saw your true powers? We may not be able to carry on as we have before. And now Raz goes, I welcome change. I'm like, okay, this is good. He obviously doesn't mind things changing. And he's looking at a ramen book. Oh, ramen. I love ramen so much. I haven't had ramen in ages. It's just so funny because obviously Frank is like, I wasn't talking about ramen, but Raz has got his priorities straight, guys. He really does. This is a Clockwork Dandy Noodles, seal of approval. I love ramen. Me and Raz, we definitely share our love of ramen. I can definitely relate to that character there. We have had one hell of a cool episode. A lot has happened. It's been quite fast-paced. It definitely feels very fast-paced in that sense, where the battle happens and then we learn about kind of these bits and pieces of information about Silver's powers. We've learned a lot about Raz this episode. Raz has finally stepped up and taken the mantle, and he's finally shown us what he's capable of. It's going to be interesting to see what happens when Yu and Manabu wakes up, because obviously I think before with the event that was covered up, their memories were altered and erased by Raz, so it's going to be interesting to see if he does that. So it'll be interesting to see how do we proceed from now. I've got lots of questions. I can't wait to see where the anime is going. Also, thank you guys for your great comments. And obviously, make sure you guys do jump ahead to the Discord channel. And please, 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 if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. We are growing slowly by day. It is really, really nice to see. And it's great to see people also checking in on the content. And it's great just to have what I wanted is just to be able to talk about anime is something I really love to do. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. The schedule for the channel, Monday to Tuesdays, we have Moriarty the Patriot. Come and join us for some English lore, some Victorian breakdowns. It's definitely a heavy video for me, but it's full of a lot of facts and it's definitely proven to be quite popular. Monday, Tuesday, we have Golden Kamui. We have the 3rd season. Definitely shaping up to be one hell of a season. Wednesday morning, Ikebukuro Westgate Park. We've definitely taken a tone shift over there. Things getting very serious and heated. Thursdays, we have Noblesse. Can't wait to see where we go from here. We're definitely at a turning point for the season. Friday, we have Journey of Elena, perhaps the most prettiest and colourful anime of the season. Definitely having fun with my releases. Very soon, I'll be thinking about the next season. So you guys need to keep your eyes peeled for that video when that eventually goes up to find out what's going on for the channel next season. I plan to be releasing more. Can't wait to see what I decide to review on. Very exciting stuff. So yes, thank you guys again for tuning in. You guys have been amazing. Don't forget to comment your favourite red-headed character down below because I will be picking the winning comment very soon. I'll see you guys again next week. Make sure you guys are staying safe. Have a good one. Bye-bye, guys.